Hi everybody. Today I thought it would be fun to do a complete flip through of my Erin Condren. It is an 18-month planner, so it is just running out now. It goes from July of 2014 through December of 2015. And I have to say with the Erin Condren, all of my other planning has just been that. I have been very functional planner. I've had all the different planners in the past that I've had, with Franklin Covey and just the different spiral ones that I've tried, just those cheap spirals. It's pretty much just been a running to-do list, very functional, no decorating, no stickers, no nothing. And it was okay. The purpose of a planner really is to get things done, right? But I've never been a scrapbooker, never been an artist, anything like that. So I was interested in trying that out because I do love me some office supplies. I've always been an office supply girl with, pens and paper and things like that. So I did, of course, as you can see, get an Erin Condren to try that out. And well, let's just open first page, sticky notes. You guys know how I roll. Sticky notes everywhere. Those were just recipes and a few notes there. The month at a glance, or the year at a glance right here, I do pretty much run my life monthly. I have monthly goals and then just kind of break those down. But the monthly is really where it's at for me as far as that is concerned. So I do like to do some challenges for myself or my family. So here you can see some things that I've done. And I like to mark that off with stickers. It just makes me feel really, really happy. So then here is my very first pretty monthly spread. So same thing like everybody else, just tracking. We had family in town. So tracking some travel things. I had some things for work and birthdays, just your normal stuff. Here's my dog that we need to give him his medicine. And then these right here, I've talked about these before. These are from Annie's Paper Boutique. Love, love, love her shop. These are whole reinforcements. She gives you the whole with it, which I use to do for checking off tasks in my weekly. But I love to mark off the monthly days with these. It's just kind of a nice visual thing for me and adds some color. And then of course, just some things that I wanted to get done over here for my monthly goals. But that's tracking paydays or marking down paydays, just things like that. Doctor's appointments. Technically, I didn't have my planner here. So I went back and just added some stickers for 4th of July. And as you can see, I was tracking my weight, which fortunately I have lost a bunch of weight since then. So that's fun to find out. And then as you can see, I have books over here. And I would just go to Amazon and just copy the image right here and just print it out on sticker paper. So I just waited till I got a whole page of books that I either had or wanted to read. And that's how I was marking down, because I try and read a book a week. And then right here, I was tracking my planner. If you've gone through the process with Erin Condren, you know what I'm talking about. So here my planner printed, then it shipped, and then it was in my hometown. And here's where I actually got it. So as you can see, lots of stickers everywhere. And I found that I really liked this. I love stickers and I love color. And like I said, I've never been a scrapbooker or a journaler. So this was kind of I feel like a good mesh between the two for me. So I was tracking the weather. These right here, if you've read Eat the Frog or know anything about that, this was just my Eat the Frog task for the day. I loved writing them down on these frog stickers. That just really made me happy. And I was tracking down some spending on these green little Avery stickers and some things to do right here. So this pretty much was a lot of tracking, at least for me. This blue washi right here in the middle was my job. I had to track my hours, and then of course the number of hours for that. Here's just some time management with just some color coding of how I wanted my time to go for the week, like for each day. This apple sticker, since apples kind of mean health for me, I would just write down some health goals that I had for the week. And then in the mini monthly calendar up here, I would give myself a star if I did well for the day, that day. Let's see what else. Oh, for the washi, I just was crossing off or covering up the morning, afternoon, and evening. And then, as you can see, there were 3 different colors, and I would just track what I was eating. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner right there. This was some pain level things that I was tracking, and then some little notes. So this was the number I was feeling for the day. As you can see, 6 is not good. And then here is my sleep with this is actually sheep washi right here. I would just mark down my hours that I slept because I had some insomnia that I was trying to deal with. And this right here were some essential oil protocol things that I was trying. So as you can see, a lot of tracking. And then I would just put tasks and things to do as where I could fit it in or just on sticky notes. So more of the same here. I did include some little fly lady stuff there. And see anything else new for the week? Not really. This was actually my cycle, which I was using this moon washi and then the sharks. It's interesting, right, to see what people use for tracking their cycle. And here is the August. So same thing here. And then here is that first kind of week, last week of July, first week of August. We went to a rodeo. That was really fun. And then there are weeks like this. So this week was the worst week of my entire life. And I don't say that lightly. And you know, that's just life, right? It's just how it happens. Still a little bit too painful to talk about, and it's not really necessary, but I ended up grabbing a planner, throwing some things in a bag, jumping on a plane, and so all I had was my planner with me. And I ended up going to a store and buying these stickers because I needed it. That was a good little diversion for me for this week. I've never prayed so much in my entire life. It was awful. But, you know, that's, like I said, that's how life is sometimes. Then we're back to semi-normal here. I did find some quote stickers that I really liked that I was putting in boxes. Let's see what else is going on this week. I was trying to track some water. As you can see, I wasn't really tracking it. Tracking spending down here. If something happened like this, I would just use skinny washi and write out the reason why. So here I said I was too exhausted to go to this activity. Here's some of my favorite washi and stickers. Mrs. Grossman's money stickers, and then the green piece for like Dave Ramsey. And that's just my husband and I try to have a budget meeting once a week. So that was just marking that. And see if there's anything else on that week too. You know, paydays. Here's another week. I think this week is pretty. It's cute to me. So I know it's very busy, but here's where I took my money coins to the bank. So I wrote down exactly how much I had of each, you know, penny, nickel, dime, quarter, and then how much I saved, which I'm a financial person, so that's always really interesting to me. Here's another time tracking thing with just a different forum there. And just some things that I need to get done. Here's a to-do sticker. I actually ended up making my, well, I'll get to there in just a minute. Anything else on this one? Here, this is a sticker, but I just put all the different places I need to go on that one. So as you can see, lots of tracking and some planning that are going on here. So that's one of the reasons why it's super busy. Places to go, things I wanted to sell on Craigslist. I bought a new car for my son there. Here's how nerdy we are. We had a date night with Scrabble, and I had Scrabble stickers. So, yep, that's how we roll. And then here is September. I do like to mark off the days for the monthly calendar that are not included in the month because it's just a nice visual, adds a little bit of color. I did, as you can see, put a little bit of skinny washi here to mark it off even further. This right here were some not menu books, but recipe books that I was using for my menu that I wanted to focus on. So I just did the same thing where I just did the image and printed them out on sticker paper. So nothing too exciting out of the ordinary there. We sold a car here. That was exciting. We went on a little river cruise. That was fun. These are really cute. These are actually little sticky notes that I was just tracking some things regarding food. And here is more tracking for finances. These little pigs right here, I would just write down if I transferred money to savings or what I was saving. That's a big deal. I try to do that. It's interesting, right? To see your life on paper. I remember this day or this weekend. It was the Northern Lights were visible. That was so fun because I love anything to do with the sky. And I had this awesome washi to go along with it. So yeah, same thing, just doing some eat the frog tasks. So here's more things for my work where I changed it up just a little bit. So in the circle, I wrote down the times that I worked and then the circle, the number of hours, because I had to write down both of those. This one is my daughter was moving in for college that day. So not a ton of, then you have weeks like this where you're just not really feeling it, where you're busy or stressed or something. So here is September. There's the rodeo that we went to. And these little elephant things right here, I actually have the elephant punch, and if I need to remember something, like the elephant needs to remember, I would just write out, so I just needed to remember to print out the tickets for that. So I put those kinds of things on the little elephant. So I like that. And then here's more budgeting stuff. Here is October. So same thing there. And then October is always our no spend month. That's what we focus on, or it just works out that way. So I just printed, same thing, I just went to this website. It's Living Well, Spending Less, and she has a Living Well, Spending Zero challenge. So I just did those stickers. And then I would just check it off for the day if I was successful or did the activity that she had to go with that. And then here is more of the same, doing better on my hydrating over here and my checking off my vitamins. Don't see anything else that's necessarily worth mentioning there. But I did really find that I liked this kind of thing. It was I wouldn't say stressful, but sometimes I would think it would take longer than it would. But once I got into it, it was a lot of fun. So here's that. I was postponed thing there. Here is November. So as you can see, each month has a little bit different one of those Annie's Paper Boutique things. This, I would have to say, is my favorite week, which doesn't look like much. But number one, we ended no spend. But number two, main important reason here is all of this is glow in the dark. So the washi tape and all of these stickers. So I'm a complete geek. I would sit there with my black light and charge it up and then just look at it and ooh and ah, because that's the way I roll. So I love glow in the dark. Here's how I marked daylight savings to move the clocks back. So here's another week. I did a little bit of planning here. I was trying to do some stamping, which that frustrated me to no end. And then here's another one. So I like the colors on this one, that teal or turquoise. And then nope, not much here. But we did go to the Rockettes, and that was so much fun, and they are so good. We were blown away by that. So here is the week of Thanksgiving, and I call this my once a year washi tape. As you can see, it's humongous. I'm going to say it's at least 30 millimeters. I don't know. I don't remember how big this is, but it spans 3 days, as you can see. So I really can only use this on Black Friday, that Thanksgiving weekend. But I love it. It's super cute. And then here's how I marked off decorating for Christmas. So it's just fun to just try some different things, but it's all colorful. Here is December. This is another one of my favorites. This one's probably more like 20, 25 millimeters. But this one's really cute because it's just a nice little classic winter scene. I really like that. And then it fits just so beautifully into the days that aren't being used for the month. So here is the 1st of December. We took a little trip right here to see my daughter. She was in a really big concert. And then I used these numbers right here, and I was counting down, but it wasn't for Christmas. I was actually counting down a family vacation here. And that's just how I used that. Second worst week of my entire life. 2014 was not a good year. It really was not. It was terrible. Fortunately, 2015 was so much better. As you can see how terrible it was, I had the Halloween stickers out in the middle of December. It was bad. And I'm not even kidding when I say this. I am still surprised that I did not have a heart attack this week. It was awful. But, you know, moving on. That's just, you got to just keep going forward. So same thing here, still tracking a little bit of savings there. And then here is the big trip, the once-in-a-lifetime family trip that we took. We went to DC and New York. We were in DC for Christmas, and then, so lots of fun stickers that I got to use here. and just, you know, planning for the trip right there. And then we were, well, here's the January spread. But then here's the end. This is when we were in New York City. So we were actually in Times Square, New York City. Our hotel was actually on Times Square. So for New Year's, I think that's one of everybody's, I guess, bucket lists, or what they want to do with their life. So it was interesting. It was very, very fun, super crazy. Like, you can't even imagine the craziness. And we all kind of had the consensus that it was awesome to do, but we'll probably never ever do that again. And then here's Home Sweet Home Washi. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but it's fun to go on vacation, but I'm a homebody. I'd rather be at home. So I always love to come home. So here's my little cute doggy washi where we pick up our dog from our trip. And then, you know, of course, since it's the first of the year, I'm doing some organizing here, and this is some trying to be healthy and exercise. And then this right here, I'm weird. I love to do things by candlelight, so I was just kind of like scheduling time for candlelight. Here's some more detox bath things. These are mini duck stickers, and this is wave washi. I just like the way that looked together. So here, this is the getting close to the end of January, and this is about where I realized, as you can see, no February spread. I was beginning to realize that this was super fun to do, and I liked all the tracking, but it really wasn't enough for planning. So you can see I wasn't using it. I started trying to use it here as a food tracker, you know, healthy kind of thing here, but it just really wasn't working. The weekly spread is just lovely and beautiful. This is more of like a health and beauty type of thing that I was trying out there. As you can see, that didn't last either. But it wasn't enough. Like, I was discovering here that I really needed to have a daily page. So here I'm trying again with the food tracking. You know, some people are hard. Here's some more stickers I was using. These are cute little monster stickers instead of shark. I don't know. I think it's interesting to see how people track different things in their life. So here I'm still trying to use this is a healthy tracker, and I have it set up for that, but it just didn't really work. And I was just kind of over it at this point. I was frustrated. I was trying different planners in other things, and yeah, it just wasn't working for me personally, because I just needed a lot more room. But I do love all the different colors on here. I like that each month is a different color. I do really like the layout as far as a weekly layout is concerned. And here's August. And this is when I got the brilliant idea, at least for me, to start using this because I felt bad that it was just sitting there lonely on my bookshelf not being used, to start using this as my family planner. So I was using the monthly, which if you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen this before, but the monthly was my menu planner, which turned out just lovely. Checking things off when we actually had them, still doing the checking off the days with the whole reinforcements. These were some recipes I wanted to try out of certain recipe books. So it worked out super great. And then the weekly I used as my family schedule. So anything that my family had going on, you can put a lot more details. As you can see, I wanted some things to pop out with stickers, and tracking and planning, doing menu planning at the bottom. So I just have this sitting on an easel on my table in my front entry. So people, when any of my kids come over, they don't know where I'm at, or, you know, where is so-and-so, they could just look in here and see. So still tracking the weather also here. But it's fun. It was fun to do. And this really, I think, was, for me, the perfect purpose for the Erin Condren, was for a family planner. So here's my October. Again, we're doing no spend. These were things that I needed to buy at the grocery store. So this ended up being a grocery list in preparation for no spend. And then over here, I would use this as what I needed to use out of my fridge so it wouldn't spoil for the week. So here's my stickers to start. My no spend, same stickers as before, with some of my favorite, my treasure chest stickers. And I was also doing and planning the breakfast as well, because I really needed to be organized for a no spin, because we were doing the whole shebang. We weren't even going to the grocery store, and so I just had to be super on top of my game there. So as you can see, we usually have a lot of things at night, and then just events like a birthday I would put up at the top, or an appointment or something like that. So this worked out really, really great. So much so that I'm going to continue using this same system into 2016. So this is the end of October here. Here's my November. So as you can see, I went fancy on this one, did gold for November. Now here's the end of no spend. Here's, Halloween, doing some fun stuff there. More of those glow in the dark stickers. I had to use up all those. And here's where our celebration for no spend. So as you can see, some weeks are a little bit more busy than others, but that's okay. That's just how life is. And we're back to Thanksgiving. This was my parents' 50th anniversary. We ended up taking them on a little mini trip. And that was so fun that is something that we all want to do every single year. That was just awesome. So here's my once a year washi again for Black Friday. I don't actually do Black Friday shopping, but I do Cyber Monday. I'm all over that one. So here's December. My menu plan for December. And then for this, I was using the Advent countdown stickers that I had bought the previous year. These are cardstock and they're raised and they've got glitter, so I probably wouldn't normally use these, but since it was the last month of the year, then it was fine. It wouldn't get in the way. But they're cute. So same thing, tracking. I was tracking some emotions up here, also tracking, which is, not family planning, but I wanted to use up some of these stickers that I had. So just kind of the tone of the day, and then still tracking weather. My pen right here, I don't know if you can tell, but my pen, I actually used up a pen. It was running out right there. And still tracking what we ate at the bottom. And then here is Christmas week. So I just kind of outlined it in a really skinny washi and just some things that we planned on doing and did do. And that is it. I ended up going into my new planner this particular week. I'm in a happy planner for 2016. It's got the same exact layout, but just a lot less expensive. So I really enjoyed this. I learned a lot of lessons. I will probably end up doing a separate video on the lessons that I learned, but I loved the stickers and I love the color, and I liked having things to look back at. Like I said, I don't know if I'm decided to keep this or not. I'm still debating over that, but it is just kind of interesting to see how your life looks and just bring up some memories and have those kinds of things to look at. So I do like the pretty planning, but ultimately it needs to be functional for me, and I just found that personally in my personal planning, I just did not have enough room in the Erin Condren, but it's beautiful, at least for me, for a family planner. So anyway, hope that's been interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.